Now, next contender, please. And your name is?
Gareth, Kingston.
Your occupation?
Charity manager.
And your chosen subject?
The Great Fire of London.
The Great Fire of London, in 2 minutes starting now. The fire is thought to have begun early in the morning of Sunday the 2nd of September 1666 at a bakery in Pudding Lane. Who was the owner of the bakery?
Fariner.
Yes. Wild rumour spread in the absence of official comment when the presses of which publication, managed by Joseph Williamson, were destroyed by the fire?
London Gazette.
Correct. Whose servant, Jane Birch, roused her master at his Seething Lane home soon after the fire started, but he thought it far enough off and returned to bed?
Pepys.
Yes. In which book did Thomas Vincent, the former rector of St Mary Magdalene, give a list of London's sins which he held were to blame for the disaster?
God's Terrible Voice in the City.
Correct. The illegal practice of constructing buildings with upper stories that projected over the street contributed to the spread of the fire. What was this practice called?
Jettying.
Yes. 3 city gates were badly damaged in the fire: Ludgate, Newgate, and which other?
Aldersgate.
Yes. As well as a collection being taken up in parish churches, how was the fire commemorated nationally on the 10th of October?
Fast Day.
Yes. The King appointed Francis Sandford and which Prague-born landscapist to draw up an exact plan and survey of the city after the fire?
Holler.
Yes. Which London river was altered after the fire by being straightened with wide quays built on both banks?
Fleet.
Yes. A watchmaker was hanged in October 1666 after he confessed to pushing fireballs through the window of Farriner's house on the morning of the 2nd of September. What was his name?
Hubert.
Yes. In which year was the reconstruction of St Paul's finally completed under the direction of Sir Christopher Wren?
1710.
Correct. What duty was initially proposed by the city alderman on coal brought into the port of London in order to pay for repairs and rebuilding?
1 shilling per chaldron.
Yes. The Royal Exchange in Cornhill was largely destroyed by the fire, whose statue was all that remained intact?
Gresham.
Yes. A warrant was issued, the money loaded into vessels, for the removal of the exchequer to which building near Epsom in Surrey?
Nonsuch House.
Nonsuch Palace, yes. Thomas Bloodworth's immediate successor as Lord Mayor of London was convicted of having misappropriated some £1,800 from the relief fund. What was his name?
Bolton.
Yes. Which member of the royal family did King Charles II put in overall charge of the firefighting operation on Monday the 3rd of September?
James Duke of York.
It was indeed. No passes, 16 points, all correct. Now, what a high-scoring round. Let's have a look at those scores. In 4th place, 11 points, Chris Dutchfield. Joint 2nd place, 14 points apiece, Angela Rutledge and Benjamin Skip. In the lead with 16 points, Gareth Kingston. And Gareth Kingston, finally, please. Now, the Great Fire of London. What seems extraordinary, this far out from it, is a huge fire, destroyed most of London, and only a relatively small people, what, 8 or 10 people recorded as being killed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the important thing, recorded to have been killed. With a fire burning in excess of 1,000 degrees Celsius, it's entirely plausible that other people were killed and just incinerated. And we do know that quite a number of people died afterwards in refugee camps, like the playwright and poet James Shirley, who died along with his wife not long after the fire. So it's probably, you know, the common estimate is probably a lot lower than actually died.
In some ways, I suppose you could say, could you, that it was beneficial in that it created the modern city that it was to become?
Yeah, I think it was a catalyst for the growth of London, and the next 40, 50, 60 years of rebuilding really take London forward to a point where London was growing as a city, population-wise. Other major cities in Europe were declining. So it really was a boom time in many ways after the fire.
I liked some of the stories from Pepys. I mean, what was it he buried in his garden?
His Parmesan cheese and his wine. Yeah, Pepys is a wonderful chap.
He had a sense of priorities, didn't he?
And sometimes some very skewed priorities.
Yeah,
but,
quite.
But, you know, I think Parmesan cheese, you know, you can't just pop down to your local Sainsbury's in 1666. That's quite a luxury item, and chucking it in a hole in the ground and hoping it's still going to be there after the fire, well, you know, I think...
Was it?
Well, it was, because actually his house on Seething Lane didn't get burnt down. It was just outside the fire zone, so...
So he didn't need to bury it?
No, but it gave us a great tale. So.
He did indeed. And he gave you 16 points, so let's see now if you can beat the highest score at the moment, which is 20 points. Here we go with your general knowledge. What was the name of the first successful artificial satellite launched into space by the Soviet Union in October 1957?
Sputnik.
Yes. In 1990, Luciano Pavarotti's recording of an aria from the opera Turandot reached #2 in the UK singles chart. What was its title?
Nessun Dorma.
Yes, which religious sect employs a special instrument called an e-meter for auditing or counselling its members?
Scientology.
Yes, which intelligence agent was portrayed on television by Alec Guinness, having first appeared in John le Carré's novel Call for the Dead?
Smiley.
Yes, in 1958, who became the youngest player to appear in a Football World Cup final?
Pelé.
Yes. What's the name of the canal that runs across southwestern France, linking the Mediterranean with the Atlantic Ocean via the Garonne River?
Mittal Canal.
Canal du Midi. On the 29th of December 1170, who was murdered by 4 knights who believed they were fulfilling the wishes of King Henry II?
Beckett.
Yes. In February 2008, the Best Actress Awards at the BAFTAs and the Oscars were both won by which French actress? Who began presenting a monthly late-night television show in April 1957 and has earned a place in the Guinness Book of Records as the longest-serving presenter?
Moore.
Patrick Moore. What general term is used for the types of medicine which look at all of the person rather than treating only the diseased part?
Homeopathy.
Holistic medicine. Which group's only chart-topping single was Don't You Want Me, which was the best-selling single released in 1981?
Human League.
Yes, in 1897, who produced the first practical compression ignition internal combustion engine?
Benz.
Diesel. Which musical style is a mixture of the samba and cool jazz? It was invented in Rio in the late 50s by Antonio Carlos Jobim and João Gilberto.
Salsa.
Bossa Nova. What alternative name for the mountain ash is believed to come from the Norse word runa, meaning a charm, because the tree was thought to keep witches away?
You.
Rowan. Which 20th century British Prime Minister served as Foreign Secretary before forming his administration and again some years afterwards? Think of a Prime Minister.
Heath.
Douglas Hume. No passes. Gareth Kingston, 24 points. So, there it is. Let's have a look at the scores. In joint third place with 19 points apiece, Chris Dutchfield and Benjamin Skip. In second place with 20 points, Angela Rutledge. In first place, 24 points, Gareth Kingston. Which, of course, means that Gareth Kingston goes through to the next round. Congratulations to him. Do join us next week for more Masterminds. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.